We good now?
Yep. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to what I believe is episode 18 of our podcast. I think since the time we recorded our last one, we did cross 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you, everyone, for listening to Chris mainly on Facebook and actually subscribing to the channel. This week, we have Cole McCoy on with us. He's someone that Chris and I have known in the business for a number of years. So I'll let Chris kind of go into some of the topics that we'll be covering today, and then Cole can introduce himself.
Alrighty, so appreciate everyone that's with us today. I'm on my iPad, so it might be smaller than I am in real life, but I haven't gotten any smaller. And again, we appreciate everyone that likes the videos, comments below, and subscribes so that our content shows itself to others who are simply searching for unbiased insurance content on social media. So like Joe said, Cole and I have worked together at different times in the industry, but he's one of those guys that have stuck out in the industry longer than most. And we like to bring people on our channel who actually know what they're talking about, have some skin in the game and some experience with the words behind what they say. So Cole, before we get into our main topic today, why don't you introduce yourself, promote yourself to YouTube, and take advantage of the spotlight for a few minutes.
All right. Cole McCoy, live in northeast Ohio, I guess you can say, about an hour south of Cleveland. Been in the business about 9 years. Have a little agency going, and just always excited about getting good content out there and doing it with good people. So here we are. Absolutely.
So today's topic, I wanted to talk about balancing work, life, family, and doing so during the summer. With young kids home from school, it's a lot different than your September through June routine. To a lot of the family folk in the industry, you've got young kids, a family, and kind of hearing a perspective on how you keep things balanced, not just from your side, but from an agency side as well, I think would be a cool topic this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I might not be the best person to talk about this because what I strive towards and what I actually do probably fail a lot of times. But one of the things that I did do, Chris, I moved about a year ago, and where I live, it's actually really cool. I have a barn in the middle of my property where my office is. So I just walk across the driveway every morning, which makes it nice. So I at least get to see my girls, a few times throughout the day. I guess it really depends on your goals. I mean, with what I'm up to and where I'm at, I mean, there are times where, I know last night I was getting something done until about 1:30, actually this morning, so you just have to make the moments count that you have and be very intentional. You can't let moments pass you by, because at the end of the day, as you're building a business, it's easy to lose sight of the things that are most important. I know I fail at that a lot of times, but with the summer and with everything going on, for me, I've just found it's important to be intentional. With a 5-year-old who's just her mind is set on adventure all the time. We have to just, again, be intentional. So like tomorrow, she's been dying to do a lemonade stand. So we're going to put a lemonade stand out the road and put a sign up that says entrepreneur in training, and that's going to be so special to her. But I'll be honest, sometimes during the week, it's, having my wife and Maggie come to the office and hang out for 20 or 30 minutes just so I can ask about their day. And then there are other times when you just see those slots that you just be very intentional. So again, I might not be the best person to answer this question. I don't think I've mastered the work-life balance deal.
I think that's the truth. I think that's the truth. And I think sometimes social media is flush with anything but the truth. And if we can just, push that honesty into the industry, I think it does a lot of people good. I jokingly say I can probably do more than most agents between the hours of 7:30 and 1:30, because I recognize that's my prime productivity time. The coffee's flowing good. My to-do list is in front of me. And, anything after that, I can still get some stuff done, but it's recognizing when you work best, what you need to work on, and getting it done. And like Cole said, being intentional with your time. If you don't know what you want to get accomplished today, nothing's going to get accomplished today. But if you have a goal in mind, you've got a way to get it done, those things can happen. So also recognizing that we're not all machines. We're not all going to write $1 million of premium a year. That's crazy talk. We've got family and kids that we're trying to pour into as well. And that when all is said and done, those are the people that matter to us the most. So being intentional with both your work life and your family life as well. So, Cole, quick question for you. A lot of people in the industry, I think, eat, breathe, live a lot of final expense. What do you do to kind of decompress from that outside of family? Because developing a good balance between those two is crucial to having longevity in the business. So when the business is done, the family's happy, what do you do to kind of build some hobbies outside of insurance sales?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple hobbies, and again, I'll be transparent. I'm in the middle of grind mode, so I probably fail at this more than I succeed. But there's a few things that I do to decompress. One, I have a massive property as far as what I'm responsible to mow. It's about 10 acres, so it's about a 4-hour mow. So once a week, I kind of can throw a podcast in. That's my sanctuary. So I know it sounds crazy, but I do a little mowing. Once a week, I usually like to go out and play a round of golf. I'm not very good, but it's just being out in nature. And then, I always have a guitar or two laying around, and it's nice to just, when I'm stressed, to just pick on that for a minute. And it helps me just take a step back, take a deep breath, and center myself to get back into the craziness. Again, it's, I guess the way that I look at it, maybe I don't know who told me this, but if someone sleeps, 7 hours a day, and let's say they're working 12 hours in a day, let's just call it crazy. I mean, there's still, 40 to 50 hours left in your week, to get the things done that you want to do. Again, it's just all back to being intentional. So those are the things that I'm kind of doing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's get some specifics into the business now. A lot of folks listening in want to learn something and implement that into their week in the week ahead. Let's talk to a brand new agent who has on leads, got a carrier contract, but is terrified to go out there and talk to strangers. What would you say to an agent who has what he needs to make the sales, but is afraid to leave his front door and get out into the field?
I mean, I guess it would depend. It would depend on the person, but what I will say that first door is the scariest. Every single door that you knock on gets a little bit easier. Us seasoned producers still get that feeling sometimes of like dread. But once you get that momentum, you get into your car, you get on the road, you go hit those doors. That motion creates momentum. And so sometimes you just have to just get moving. I'm a big fan of David Goggins. Have y'all heard of him?
Absolutely.
He's this maniac where he runs miles and miles and miles every day. And sometimes he says he stares at his shoes for 30 minutes before even putting them on and getting out and running. So there's something about just taking that first step, and every time you do it, it just gets less scary. Hopefully you're with a group, like if you're working with Chris or with myself. I mean, we help close deals. Just get in the house. Just try to get in front of somebody. If they're not letting you in the door, call me. I'll get you in the door, or try. In this business, that first time doing it, yeah, it's hard, but over time it gets easier. And if you're and I'll be very transparent, if you're finding that it's pulling teeth even a few months into it, just to get out and get moving, might need to look in the mirror and evaluate if this is a career for you. It's gonna be real.
That's a good parlay right there, a transition. What do you think are characteristics of a good entrepreneur? Because some people truly aren't meant for this industry, and that doesn't mean the industry's bad or they're a bad person. I'm not a good fit to be a basketball player. Doesn't mean I've something wrong with the NBA. But what do you think are good characteristics in a person that would make them a good entrepreneur?
Well, first of all, if you're an entrepreneur, you can't have a 9-to-5 mindset. You have to have your goals in front of you at all times and do whatever it takes to hit those goals. Hopefully over time, you'll get more efficient to where it doesn't take as much time to hit that goal. But if it's, Thursday night and you haven't quite hit your goal and you had planned to take off Friday, well, I'm sorry, you should probably go back out and try to hit your goal. There's no time frame. Sometimes you can hit your goal in a day and a half in the field. I mean, Chris, you're right, 8,000 a day, right? Right. But like sometimes, again, my favorite line of all time is in Tommy Boy. It says, sometimes you feel like you could sell a ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves, right? Other times you couldn't give this stuff away for free, especially in the final expense space. The only thing that fixes that is activity. Well, am I going to need to be out in the field for 50 hours this week, or can I hit my goal in 25? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. So you have to put your goals in front of you and do whatever it takes to hit them, and be willing to sacrifice when things aren't going well. Where agents fail is they have a bad week. They get negative. Especially in the beginning, they want a lot of personal time. We get into this business for freedom, but I'll be honest, we talked about work-life balance. In the beginning, if you want to do this at a high level, you're going to have to give up some things for a while. When I first got into the business, I didn't take a day off for 6 months. I don't feel like that's virtuous. That's just what I felt like I had to do to be successful at this. And then over time, you get better, you get more smooth. You know how to overcome objections. You learn how to put a route and get more efficient. But if you're in the beginning, you have to have your goals in front of you and do whatever it takes to hit them, or else, you're better off getting a job at Target. I'm sorry.
Well said. I'm going to throw Joe this question too, because he spent over a year developing what became Insurance Toolkits, and I don't think there was a lot of work-life balance in between that. So, Joe, what does it take to kind of get something off the ground, the kind of dedication and focus necessary so that, in your world it was selling and then it was building this product? What does an agent need to do to kind of get off the ground?
Well, I think it takes finding someone who knows what they're talking about. A lot of with building the toolkit, one of the reasons I think we succeeded where other people have failed or stagnated is that I had sold the products. I'm not the biggest expert in the world, but I knew what I was doing when I was creating the guidelines. It was very different than an IMO paying a software developer who doesn't have an insurance license, who's never written the products to build the system. So I think a lot of agents who are either recruiting others they've never sold any business themselves, or if you're in the business and you don't have someone who sold the products, you're really not going to have a good time. You need to have the background, or you need to have someone, because 99% of people don't have the background, who knows how to do it, who knows how to sell, who knows the products to guide you, or it's just not going to succeed. So I think that's the biggest thing, is being able to copy someone who's done it, because anyone can do what Chris does, frankly. There's not some special gene to sell insurance. He just knows what to say. He knows how to say it. He knows the products to represent, the cadence of what to say. And I think I remember being at the EFIS event in 2019, where I think Don said that when Chris started, he was not that great of a salesman, which most people aren't. But because he worked at it and he followed people who knew what they were doing, he became very good at it. So that's another misconception we see online, is that there's no savant that just goes out with no idea of what to do and consistently sells $10,000 a week. It just doesn't happen. So everyone learns. Even Chris, myself, Cole, we all started at zero, but we followed people who knew what they were doing. So that's, in my opinion, it's the biggest thing, is the proper guidance. So
absolutely. I think that's worth saying, because it's worth applying to anything in life. If you want to be successful at something, find somebody who's good at it and do exactly what they're doing. And then once you've developed that foundation, you develop the license to be creative afterwards, but not before that. Cool. One other question we'll throw your way, because we like to keep these things short and sweet for the audience. Agents that make it through the beginning but fail before the end of that first year, what do you think causes that, and what can be prevented in those kind of situations?
There's a few things. The first thing is again, going back to keeping your goals in front of you. What happens is, let's say an agent goes out for a day. Maybe they have appointments. Maybe they have a bunch of leads and are just getting their teeth kicked in, doors slammed in their face, not wanting to talk to you. So what started with, in these situations, agents, they start with a lot of zeal, and then have a bad day. And sometimes they ride the emotional roller coaster, where there's ups and there's downs. Well, when they let themselves, when it's a down, they get wrapped up in that. And what happens is now all of a sudden there's negativity. Oh, what did your appointment setter say? Or that person said they didn't set an appointment, or they weren't home when we set, so again, it just gets super negative. And then all of a sudden that next day, say they have a gap in their schedule between noon and 4. Well, instead of going and knocking on doors on leads that they have, they're sitting at the gas station playing Candy Crush on their phone. Right. And then that turns into, well, I was in the field for 40 hours this week. It's like, well, were you actually? Because I'm showing here that, there you had 0 presentations outside of the 10 that we set for you. Didn't close any of those, and you had 30 leads. What happened with those other 20 that we couldn't get on the phone, right? But there was no presentations from door knocks. So that's a very easy way to see. We get so negative, and then let that ruin our mindset. Then let it affect our work ethic, and we just look for ways to escape because it's hard. So that's a big thing is the negativity piece. The other part of it is you'll have agents do very well. I was actually listening to the podcast that you did with Scott Burke, and he was right on. Agents will make a little bit of money and then go get a bunch of new bills. They'll buy a new car. They'll buy something that they probably shouldn't have bought and saddle themselves with more debt. And now all of a sudden, your bills went from $3,000 a month to 6 to 8 to 10. And then all of a sudden it's, well, this business doesn't work. I can't pay my bills. It's like, no, you didn't work, because you went against the advice that a lot of the savvy vets are telling you. Don't get extra bills. You can always work your way out of a negativity slide. You can always work your way out of a slump, but it just takes passion. It takes extreme work ethic at times. Like, you can work yourself out of any slump, but you just have to be willing to do it. And it sucks in the moment, but those are the big 2 reasons that I see people failing.
That's super true. There's a lot of truth to that. Agents are not good stewards with their money. If you're operating a business and you open a franchise under Cole's brand and he was the corporate office, he would monitor your books. But that kind of thing doesn't exist in this industry. So you have to monitor your own books. Is this a wise investment? Can I afford this? Can I sell enough insurance to pay for this? Do I even need this? Like, what purpose is this going to serve in my life? What will it take me to do? And one of the questions I always ask myself the first 2 years in the business is, what am I doing? Is what I'm doing right now making me money or costing me money? And really and truly throughout the entire day, ask yourself that. Is what I'm doing right now making me money or costing me money? I made a lot of sacrifices the first 2 and 3 years in the industry, a lot of sacrifices that I'm making up for in year 5, 6, and 7. But you have to be willing to make those sacrifices to make it long term. Cole, with the last minute or 2 we have, wrap the video by, again, letting people know how they can contact you if they, were inspired by you, want to work with you, or just want some advice if you have some time. Feel free to give out some of your information if you'd like, so folks can get in contact with you.
Sure. I just wanted to say too, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment. Joe, Chris, what you guys have done with Fex Toolkit is undeniable. I'm the first to admit when something new and sexy comes out, I'm hesitant. I like to kind of see how it goes before I dip my toe in the water. With what you guys have created, it has made our lives so much easier. So I want to say thank you. Again, undeniable. What you've done is amazing, and it's only getting better. So I appreciate y'all for doing that. How you can contact me? I have a lot of training out there. I actually have done some training with Chris in the past. If you look at, I think on YouTube, FS Nation in the Trenches, there's a good bit of training. We've done some entrepreneur series in there where we've got to interview other good people. So YouTube, FS Nation in the Trenches. If you go to my website, finalexpenseservices.com, that's really goes into the specifics of our programs, what we do. We're not like looking to bring on anybody that's got an insurance license and a pulse. We're very transparent, but we'll, we feel that our programs speak for themselves. If you want to contact me personally, I'm at 419-961-6310. Pretty much always available in some capacity. If I can't get with you, I usually am pretty good about getting back. But that's how you can find me.
Appreciate it. And again, guys, feel free, or I encourage you to like the video, comment below, even if it's something simple. It helps YouTube show us some more folks. Subscribe and share this out on social media. Again, episode 18 of the Insurance Toolkits podcast. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thanks for joining us.